Hello, I'm Alessia. My journey began when I was a young hairdresser, freshly graduated and already working at a cozy salon in the heart of downtown. Those days were filled with simplicity, just me, my scissors, and a world ripe with possibilities. It was a typical Tuesday when Daniel walked into the salon for the first time. The entry bell chimed as he entered, looking somewhat uncertain if he was in the right place. His hair was wildly untamed, with thick curls that seemed to resist any form of grooming. "Are you open for a walk-in?" he asked, his voice barely audible over the hum of hairdryers and ongoing conversations. "Absolutely. Have a seat," I replied, gesturing to my chair. As he settled in, I draped the cape around him, securing it with a snap. "What are we thinking today?" I inquired. "Just make it look like I haven't been wrestling through bushes," he joked, offering a half-smile in the mirror. I chuckled and began to work, our conversation flowing effortlessly. We discovered a shared love for classic rock over modern pop music, which neither of us could bear. "I can't stand the electronic music everywhere these days," he complained. "Tell me about it." "I'd choose Zeppelin or Floyd any day," I agreed, continuing to snip away. Our chat meandered through favorite books and movies, making it feel as though we'd been friends for ages. By the time I finished, Daniel looked transformed, and his grateful smile hinted that this wouldn't be our last encounter. True enough, he returned every couple of weeks, always ensuring he sat in my chair. Our post-haircut coffees soon evolved into dinners, and before long, we found ourselves in a deeper relationship. A year later, we married in a simple ceremony in his parents' backyard, surrounded by close family. Finances were tight, so our honeymoon was a modest 4-day stay in a lakeside cabin, quaint despite its musty smell and lingering scent of fish. But we were blissful, wrapped up in our new life together. Then came Gabriel, our son, bringing joy and new challenges. Balancing work and motherhood was tough, especially with finances stretched thin, but Daniel was an incredible support, sharing in all duties without a word of complaint. Decades flew by in a flurry of life's moments. I wasn't just any hairdresser now. I was the one people waited weeks to see. Daniel excelled too, climbing to a top position in his company. Now, in a quiet house too large for just the two of us, life felt a little more subdued. Gabriel, grown and independent, lived nearby. The salon remained a hub of activity, a place where everyone shared their stories with me, perhaps drawn by my welcoming demeanor. 28 years have indeed passed swiftly, filled with both trials and triumphs. And at 50, life is still vibrant, filled with the echoes of scissors and stories, in the little salon downtown where it all began. On a particularly rainy afternoon, the salon door swung open, and in came Violet, completely soaked from the storm outside. She looked like she needed far more than just a hair dryer, her eyes holding a sadness that immediately caught my attention. It was clear she was seeking comfort as much as a new hairstyle. "Rough day, huh?" I asked as she settled into my chair, not minding the puddles her coat left on the floor. "You could say that," she sighed, removing her soaked hat to reveal a tangled mess of hair. "Just broke up with my boyfriend. It feels like my heart's been put through a ringer." "Well, you're in the right place for a pick-me-up," I told her, wrapping a towel around her shoulders. "Let's dry you off and spruce up your look. How about we try something bold and new to start afresh?" Violet nodded, a faint hope flickering in her eyes reflected in the mirror. "I'd like that." "I really would." As I worked on transforming her drenched locks into a sleek new bob, we chatted about everything from favorite TV shows to the best local eateries. It turned out she was new in town, looking for a fresh start after things went south with her ex. I found myself not only giving styling tips, but also advice on settling into our community. By the time I finished, Violet's transformation was complete. The bob framed her face perfectly, and her smile began to re-emerge. "I feel lighter already," she admitted, admiring her reflection. "Thanks, Alessia." "Seriously." "Anytime, Violet. You know where to find me," I said, handing her a mirror to check the back. Just then, my son Gabriel surprised me with a visit during work hours. He'd been running errands and decided to drop by. His gaze quickly found Violet, and I noticed that same spark that had ignited between Daniel and me years ago. "Hey, Mom, who's this?" Gabriel tried to sound casual, but his interest was obvious. "This is Violet. Meet my son, Gabriel. He's usually not around during the day. Thinks he's too busy for his old mom," I joked, giving Gabriel a playful glare. "Nice to meet you, Violet." "And Mom, I'm never too busy for you," Gabriel retorted with a grin. Violet laughed, clearly charmed by his demeanor. "Nice to meet you too, Gabriel. Your mom's been telling me all about the town." "Yeah, well, I could show you some places if you like," Gabriel offered smoothly, to which I nearly rolled my eyes. "That'd be great," Violet said, her smile now bright and genuine. As they chatted about arranging a coffee outing, I tidied up my station, keeping an ear on their conversation. They clicked instantly, and soon Gabriel was leading her out to continue their chat over coffee. Watching them leave together, I felt a mix of emotions. Happiness for Gabriel finding someone who sparked his interest, yet concern too. Starting a relationship on the rebound can be complex, and I hoped he wouldn't end up heartbroken. Gabriel and Violet, who quickly became like a daughter to me, didn't waste time. They were married in a whirlwind of romance. While it was fast, seeing them so joyously made everything seem just right. We often had them over, filling our home with laughter. Violet would tease Gabriel about her taste in men, joking that she preferred them slender and athletic, prompting Gabriel to suck in his belly and flex like a bodybuilder, making us all burst into laughter. It was all in good fun, a testament to their spirited and loving relationship. After dinner, Violet would always jump up to help with the cleanup, insisting she couldn't just sit by while I did all the work. It truly warmed my heart to have such a thoughtful daughter-in-law. Meanwhile, Daniel and I were holding our own quite well. He had risen to a high position at his company and was always bustling with activity. However, subtle changes began to emerge in his routine that caught my attention. Initially, Daniel started working later and his business trips became more frequent. Whenever I questioned the extra hours or travel, he'd dismiss it with a casual, "It's just a busy season, Alessia. Got to make hay while the sun shines." I understood the demands of his job, but his newfound enthusiasm for fitness was what surprised me. One morning, I found him rummaging through our closet for workout clothes. "What's this all about?" I asked as he packed a gym bag. "Just trying to keep up with the younger guys at work," he replied with a laugh, adding, "Can't let them think I'm getting old." I teased him, leaning on the doorframe. "Well, look at you, Mr. Fitness." He grinned back, joking, "Who knows? Maybe I'll even get abs like Gabriel." The idea of Daniel, who usually avoided any strenuous activity, turning into a fitness enthusiast was amusing yet strange. However, a part of me was pleased he was taking better care of himself. Our life seemed nearly perfect. Our home was full of love and laughter. Our careers were prospering, and with Gabriel and Violet so content, the prospect of grandchildren felt just around the corner. But occasionally, when Daniel left for another sudden business trip or returned late from the gym, a nagging doubt would whisper to me. I tried to dismiss these thoughts as normal, mere adjustments in our routine. Still, I couldn't completely shake off the uneasy feeling. Watching Daniel pack for another trip, I'd ask, "Everything okay at work?" He'd reply, "Same as ever, just the grind," but his gaze didn't meet mine as it used to. I began to watch the clock more, noting his departures and arrivals, which seemed to grow increasingly irregular. His explanations became brief. Traffic delays, or helping out a colleague. One night, as I lay in bed waiting for him, the reality that despite the surface perfection, there was a fracture somewhere hit me. I hoped it was just my imagination running wild, a temporary phase that would pass because confronting any serious deviation in our marriage was something I wasn't ready to face. Then on a regular Thursday at the salon, everything changed. Lydia, a longtime client, came in excitedly sharing videos from her recent vacation. As she showed me a clip from a bustling restaurant, narrating their dining experience, my attention was abruptly captured by an image in the background, a couple in a deep kiss. My heart sank as I recognized Daniel and Violet, Gabriel's wife, entangled in the moment. Struggling to keep my composure, I managed to whisper, "Can you send that to me?" Lydia, puzzled by my sudden interest, nodded slowly and forwarded the video. My world, as perfect as it had seemed, was turning upside down. "Are you feeling okay? You seem a bit off," I asked gently, managing a weak smile. Shaking my head, I responded, "Yeah, just thought I recognized someone. Thanks." The rest of the day was a blur. My hands mechanically styled hair, but my thoughts were elsewhere, replaying a troubling video. In it, Daniel and Violet were together, an image that tormented me all day. I couldn't bring myself to call Daniel. Instead, once home, I dialed Gabriel, my voice tense but calm. "I need you to come over. It's urgent." When Gabriel arrived, his expression was laden with worry. "What's wrong, Mom?" Unable to look him in the eye, I handed him my phone, the video ready to play. "Just watch," I managed to say, my voice faltering. As he watched, the color drained from his face, his expression turning to one of shock and realization. "Dad and Violet?" His voice was a mix of disbelief and hurt. He looked at me, desperate for explanations. Before I could answer, the front door opened. Daniel and Violet entered, laughing carelessly. Daniel, still grinning, announced, "Guess who I gave a ride to today?" His cheerful banter halted as he noticed the somber mood. Gabriel slammed the phone down, the video still echoing their laughter, now horribly out of place. Daniel's smile vanished, his eyes darting between the phone and our stern faces. Violet's smile faltered as she caught on, seeing the video. The room's atmosphere shifted instantly, icy and tense. Daniel paled as if he'd seen a ghost, while Violet, with a cruel smirk, declared boldly, "I love him, Alessia. You're just too old for him." Her words were a slap. I felt a deep, hollow pain in my chest. How had I been so naive to welcome such deceit into our lives? Gabriel's anger was immediate. He stood, towering over Daniel. "I'm done with you, Dad. And you," he turned to Violet, "get out of my house?" Violet's laughter was sharp, her tone entitled. "And where am I supposed to go? I'm entitled to half of this apartment and alimony." Gabriel's reply was bitter. "The apartment was mine before we met, and it's only in my name. As for alimony, your infidelity has already settled that. You get nothing." Daniel then spoke up, his tone cold, calculating. "We need to talk about our assets, Alessia. We've been married for 28 years. I want half of everything." His audacity was astounding, focusing on finances, as if he hadn't just shattered our family. The ensuing divorce was bitter and prolonged. Each meeting was filled with venom, particularly from Daniel, who played the victim, attempting to tarnish my reputation to scrape more from the remnants of our life together. And Violet, ever spiteful, taunted me on the courthouse steps. "You're just an old woman, Alessia." Daniel wanted someone young and beautiful, like me. Her words cut deep, each one a dagger aimed to wound, highlighting a betrayal that was more than just of the heart. It was a shattering of my entire world. Throughout those long years we spent together, I would drive home feeling like a shadow of my former self, doubting my value and questioning each year we had shared. But amidst this turmoil, Gabriel, my son, was my unwavering support. His steadfast presence reminded me that not everything from my marriage was lost. Seeing his strength and moral fortitude, I realized that if my marriage had given me nothing else, it had blessed me with him. A man of integrity who stood for what was right, no matter the cost. One morning, as I stood before the mirror, I took a deep breath and made a solemn vow to myself. "Alessia, it's time to start anew, from the ground up." The reflection seemed to nod in agreement, cementing my resolve. A tough decision loomed ahead concerning the house. It was too filled with memories and too large for just me. The divorce terms stipulated we sell it and divide the proceeds. "Fresh start, Alessia," I whispered to myself while signing the papers at the realtor's office. Roger, a kind middle-aged agent, reassured me. "Trust me, you're making the right move." Heeding his advice, I purchased a quaint two-bedroom apartment closer to the city center, ideal for one. The day I moved in, I felt a palpable sense of relief as I unpacked boxes and set up my new space, eagerly embracing the chance to create something entirely my own. The next challenge was my career. My profession had always been a core part of my identity, and I was determined not to let it go. With some capital from the divorce and a renewed zeal, I set out to open my beauty salon. Finding the perfect location took patience. I toured numerous potential sites, each time visualizing the possibilities. When I finally discovered the ideal spot, a small, luminous storefront on a bustling street, I was certain. "I can see it now," I exclaimed to Gabriel, who had accompanied me for support. "Alessia's elegance, right there on the sign." His smile was encouraging. "It's perfect, Mom. You're going to make it something amazing." Launching the salon was an arduous journey filled with renovations, permits, and ordering supplies. Each step, though exhausting, brought a wave of accomplishment. This was my creation, my new beginning. The grand opening was a whirlwind of joy, with friends, longtime clients, and curious passers-by filling the newly vibrant space, their conversations and laughter infusing life into the once empty shop. 4 years have passed since the divorce. Reflecting, I can hardly recognize the woman I was when all this began. My business has thrived, exceeding my wildest hopes, supported wonderfully by the community. In return, I've strived to offer a welcoming and warm space. 3 years post-divorce, Gabriel remarried Lisa, whom he met at a community event. They've since welcomed twins, a boy and a girl. Seeing him so content and fulfilled has brought me a new kind of joy I never knew I was missing. Now, as I lock up the salon at night, the last rays of the sunset casting a warm glow through the front windows, I often pause and reflect on this journey. Every rise and fall, every challenge and triumph has reshaped me. I am not the same person I was, and for that, I am profoundly grateful. In those quiet moments, surrounded by the hum of hairdryers winding down, I realize how much I've grown and how much I have yet to achieve. Surrounded by the familiar scent of shampoo in my bustling salon, I found a newfound strength. The betrayal that once seemed insurmountable now fortified me, making me fiercer and more resolute than ever. Unexpectedly, I received a call from Daniel, my ex-husband. His tone casual, almost friendly, he struck with words that stung sharply. "Alessia, I think it's only fair I get half of your beauty salon. It's doing well, and frankly, it was started with my money, since I was the main breadwinner for so long." His audacity was breathtaking, claiming a share of the very business I built with my post-divorce earnings. Although infuriated, I responded calmly, "Okay, Daniel, let's meet and discuss it." After hanging up, I immediately called Gabriel, who was livid upon hearing Daniel's demand. He suggested we dig deeper into Daniel's current affairs, even proposing we hire a private investigator. Agreeing, it was time to expose whatever Daniel and his new partner were concealing. We decided to meet in a crowded downtown cafe. Arriving early, I spotted them from afar. Daniel, looking older but striving for youthfulness, and his significantly younger wife Violet, who was visibly pregnant. As I sat down, bracing for their charade, Daniel wasted no time. "Alessia, thanks for coming. With the baby on the way, Violet wants to start her salon. We think a share of your business would be a good start for our family's future." Violet smirked smugly at me, as if the battle was already won. I forced a smile, listening to Daniel's grand plans for his new family, thinking how deluded he was. When he finally paused, I seized the moment. "Daniel, you're living in a fantasy. This business you so desire was built entirely without your money or influence. And about this child you're so excited for," I paused, my smile fading as I slid a series of photos across the table. The photos clearly showed Violet with another man, not just casually, but leaving a hotel together. "And there's more," I continued, my voice steady amidst the unfolding drama. "Daniel, remember when you had chickenpox so severely at 37? The doctor said it left you infertile. I didn't have the heart to tell you then, thinking it would crush you." The color drained from Daniel's face, and Violet's eyes widened in horror. Turning to him, her hands trembling, she faced his stunned silence. "You're lying," Violet shrieked, her voice cracking under the strain. Daniel, hit by the truth, turned to Violet, his face twisted in anger. Is this true? Are you cheating on me? The cafe had fallen silent, all eyes riveted on our table. Violet began sobbing, her earlier arrogance dissolving into public humiliation. Daniel, I can explain, she stammered, but Daniel was already on his feet, shouting, I don't want to hear it. We're done. Get out of my life. His outburst caused a scene, marking the collapse of his world. As he stormed out, the echoes of their disrupted lives lingered in the silent cafe. I rose from my chair, smoothing down my skirt with deliberate calmness. I think this meeting is over, I declared, ensuring my voice carried clearly to the nearby tables. I want nothing more to do with either of you. As I walked away, the last image I held was of Violet crying and Daniel shouting, while the cafe staff hurried over to intervene. Stepping out into the sunlight, I felt a significant burden lift from my shoulders. A few days later, in the serene aftermath of a bustling day at the salon, the familiar jingle of the bell over the door caught my attention. I looked up to see Gabriel entering, his face lit with a joyful smile. Hey, Mom, how's the champion of independence doing today? He teased as he walked over to embrace me. I chuckled, handing him a broom to help clean up. Oh, stop it, I playfully scolded, but I won't lie, it feels really good. That's what I like to hear, Gabriel responded, beginning to sweep. So, what's next for you? I paused, leaning on my broom, and shared the thoughts that had been forming in my mind. Well, I've been thinking about that a lot. I want to do more than just run the salon. I want to give back somehow. Gabriel looked thoughtful as he nodded. You've got a lot to offer, Mom. Maybe some kind of mentorship program? For young women starting out? That's exactly what I was thinking, I replied, excitement rising within me. I want to help them build their futures, ensure they have the support they need. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity as I put our ideas into motion. I reached out to local community centers and schools, setting up workshops and talks. The response was incredible. Many young women attended, eager to learn and grow. One evening, after a particularly successful workshop, I sat in my salon, reflecting on the transformative journey. The phone rang, and I answered it in a thoughtful mood. Alessia's Elegance. This is Alessia. Mom, it's me. Gabriel's cheerful voice came through. Just wanted to check in. How was the workshop today? It was fantastic, Gabriel. These girls, they're so bright and full of potential. It makes me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile, I replied, a smile spreading across my face. That's awesome, Mom. I knew you'd be great at this. We chatted a bit more, and after hanging up, I was enveloped by a profound sense of peace. I had come so far from the woman who thought her life was over after the divorce. Now here I was, making a real impact, feeling more fulfilled than ever before.